As Leak Week continues on That Park Place, we found out that Walt Disney Imagineering still thinks that World Celebration is incomplete, even though Project Gamma is over. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is if I'm Dreamfinder, he's Figment. Vash, how's it going today?
I'm doing very, very well. Thank you so much for that dream. Figment, I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool right there. And I don't know, Jonas, you look like a dream finder, so I think that is a match made in heaven. Thank you so much.
I think I need a hat if I'm really going to be dream finder here. Epcot was my favorite park growing up. I have to say that before we start into this conversation. I got to go to Epcot more than any other Disney theme park because that's the one that you always had an excuse to go on field trips for because it was quote unquote educational. So I had a lot of fun memories in Epcot. Very fun place, full of the optimism of progress and tomorrow. So Epcot, that experimental prototype community of tomorrow, all that technology and going around the world showcase, always a big thrill for me. So when Bob Chapek announced that they would be changing the sections of Epcot, it was such a strange and amorphous concept here that they were changing the different areas of Epcot. And I think I finally have my answer as to why they did this. And we're going to get into that here as we talk about this particular leak. So we have been provided with documents from an excellent source. And I want to say thank you to that source if you're watching this video. We have learned that WDI considers World Celebration's retheme to be at the end of the project and that Project Gamma is completed with the opening of Communicore Hall. But they still don't feel like this area of the park has received its activation yet. They kept using this term activated in this document, talking about how brand activations sell more merchandise, or that when you added a new attraction, it activated an area. It was such a strange way to refer to it, but kind of in that marketing way of talking about different areas. It's, like when somebody says, do you have the bandwidth for that? We want to get you dialed in on that kind of thing. But that word activated, peppered in, like so much, pepper into the conversation. But they felt like this area was not activated. Vash, what do you think about this particular area? That being World Celebration Gardens near the front of the park?
World Celebration. First of all, activations. Didn't we hear about maybe activations as related to certain executives like Nelson Peltz, for example? Come on, another reason to have this guy on the board. No, I kid. But this is a very interesting part of this park right here because obviously this was a point of emphasis by Chapek when actually touting the Epcot overhaul right there. It was like, hey, we're going to get this right. Obviously, a lot of people were upset that they got rid of the Fountain of Nations, and it was okay. We're gonna remove this section of Communicore, but we're gonna have this big, festival plaza, and it's gonna be a great place to host all of the many celebrations that they have in this park. So, like the Food and Wine Festival, the Art Festival, and so forth. It's like, okay, I can kind of see the vision. I can kind of understand it. More greenery, all of that. But unfortunately, 2020 happened. And so it was like, ooh, we had to reassess everything that we're doing. And unfortunately, that section of Communicore that they should have never touched, was demolished. So now we have to spend tremendous amounts of money to build something in its place because we're not going to go with this festival structure that everything was centered around. It has been tumultuous, to say the least.
That's a very good point. And some of that Bob Chapek era artwork it has some interesting ideas in it. So we talk about the redo of the lighting around Spaceship Earth. I think a lot of people consider that to be plussing the area in a very distinct way. It's really cool. You can do a lot of stuff there. It's way better than the year 2000. Why do I know it's the year 2000? Because they put a giant year 2000 on Spaceship Earth with a giant Sorcerer Mickey hand, despite the fact that the Sorcerer Mickey, most people associate that more with Hollywood studios, probably because of Fantasmic, even though Magic Kingdom is the place where it makes more sense for that to be. Sorcerer Mickey has always been an unusual thematic element in Walt Disney World resorts for some reason. So when World Celebration finally opened, they added this lighting to the area that was in the ground. I don't know if it was improperly sealed. I don't know what exactly happened, but most of these items broke within the first week. They had this statue of Walt, which was lit from underneath, and if you know anything about film lighting, they call that monster lighting. And so people taking pictures with this Walt statue, which was in bronze, and when you cast someone in bronze, it tends to attract a lot of interesting shadows to it anyways. So you have a person who has a soft face with hard lighting from below, and that thing looked creepy from every single angle. So this wasn't exactly a well done opening. Also, the power washing that they were doing in order to clean the area reportedly was the reason that all of the lights in World Celebration kept turning off and had to be replaced. Many outages on those lights when it first started. Vash, there was a hazard that they've recently had to resolve there.
Yes. Are you talking about the burlesque show that was there? That's kind of
No, that is a completely different issue, and I don't know that we want to talk about that. But yes, to describe it makes it sound worse than it is, but also it is a show that is very close to guests, in which 4 or 5 dancer women are dancing to rhythmic music while they're hanging off of metal poles. And anyways, we're not going to go too deep into that, but yes, that is in this area at least sometime. Hopefully Disney doesn't keep that show around too long, because I don't know if it sticks with that family theme. By the way, while we're talking about this, I was actually talking about the trip hazards from the lights. For some reason,
right.
when they had the light poles in the area, there were these concrete mounds that were at the bottom of the pole. So people would make a game out of watching how many times we'll trip over those things. Now they've put boxes over them. So instead of tripping over it, you would just run into a box. One comment that came from the leaked documents that we saw: the justification for Journey of Water, which is technically part of World Celebration, Journey of Water inspired by Moana, is that Epcot needed to be more kid friendly, and so that does ring true. There's always been a few issues there. The KidCot program, of course, is in some way a response to that. My kids loved their time at Epcot, but also it is a lot of walking to get around the World Showcase, and Disney has made it into a festival space for adults. So adding in Journey of Water, I don't know that it fixes the festival space problem when you're actually making a more distinct festival space. But Journey of Water, which has also had maintenance issues already short into its life, yes, it's about 20 minutes in what is hopefully an 8-hour day in which your kids can run through a splash pad there. And they've added to the capacity, which is another way of saying it. There's not much of a line there. Getting on to more of the comments that were made in this document. Vash, do you remember? I'm going to ask you this question first. World Celebration is considered by this document to be a tremendous upgrade over what was there before, because they've reclaimed this space for use by festivals and making it, along with Communicore Hall and in making that into an expo hall, into something that is better for Epcot. It's more Epcot than what was there before. What was there before, Vash?
Well, in the World Celebration area in general,
Yes.
well, you had the amazing Communicore structure on both sides right there. You had the amazing Fountain of Nations that was absolutely incredible, and it was so iconic. You saw that in TV shows of the era right there. I believe Boy Meets World has a famous scene right there because it was awe-inspiring, honestly, and it really set the tone
If I
for
can just
Epcot
point
going
this
forward.
out, I've been to Chateau Versailles, and it is a work of mechanical wonder that they have fountains at Versailles, and it is still amazing to this day that they have fountains at Versailles. So for Epcot to be like, we're going to replace this with some lights, I get it. I like the idea of them. If you added lights to the Fountain of Nations, okay, you got me there. That's a good idea. But adding lights to this festival space, to me, it just caters to this dual income, no kids demographic that I think that Disney is. I don't know that Disney is really favored more by this group, or is it that they've driven away the other aspects of their audience here, as we're hearing that 71% of people, according to a Rasmussen poll, that they think that Disney needs to get back to a friendly image. Drinking around the world is something that you hear about at Epcot. That's not an official slogan that they have there, but it is a fan slogan for Epcot. This is a park that has always struggled to figure out what its identity is, and that festival thing feels like it's a new Band-Aid every month in order to figure out what Epcot needs to be. I do have more leaks though. So in order to activate the space, they have a stage there, and they call this the Beyonce stage because it is a dedicated stage where they can pop up anything there, which I don't know why he called it the Beyonce stage. To be fair, not a huge fan of Queen Bee. I acknowledge that she has fans. But during the day, when they're not using it for concerts at night, they're going to be putting a recurring Encanto show that is supposed to make use of the space during the day, but sounds like it's going to be a more inexpensive version of the Frozen sing-along.
Yeah, we got some. I believe there was some concept art or an announcement made that Encanto was coming into the space right there. That is very disappointing to see. I mean, the Frozen sing-along show. I mean, it's a favorite amongst especially parents with small children who adore that franchise. So I'm not going to take away from it at all, but it is a modest show, I think. So even pulling that back is really disappointing. Again, they want to say that this is a great activation, or that we're in a better place now than we were before with Epcot, and I'm just not seeing the evidence of that. I think there's a real disconnect here in terms of what upgrade means. You keep using the term, but I don't think it means what they think it means.
Right. It means brighter and shiny and sync to the music. Luminous is, of course, also part of this upgrade. Luminous being the replacement for Harmonious, because they really liked names that end in us, but they did not like the death tacos in the middle of World Showcase Lagoon there. But that being said, we wanted to throw this to our audience here. What do you think of World Celebration? And I really do want to know, have you actually been there? Or are you just basing this off of internet rhetoric? What do you think of World Celebration? Is this an upgrade to the park? Is this more Epcot? By the way, they're talking about that stuff inside of Communicore as classic Epcot. I am not so sure that the interiors are up to that design standard. Maybe we need to find a few pictures of that and bring it into TPP Live this week. We do have one more in our series of, depending on when we air this, we do have one more episode in Leak Week here on That Park Place, and you're going to want to tune in for that one. But before that, of course, like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.